Hey, what's up, everybody? Devonius's Domain back at it again with another review here. This time, we're going to be reviewing Neca's London After Midnight Ultimate Professor Burke from the 1927 Universal movie London After Midnight, the lost silent film by Universal. Pretty interesting thing about this movie. I mean, if you got this figure, you probably know the whole story about it, but in case you don't, I'll fill you in. London After Midnight was a 1927 Universal movie. It was a silent film, and in the 60s, and 65 to be exact, there was an MGM fire at the building where they kept the footage for this movie. And in the fire, it burned down, and the movie has basically been considered a lost film ever since that fire. And that's what makes this movie very interesting, and this particular figure very interesting, is it's portraying the likeness of a character in a movie that no longer exists. So it has definitely become, you know, more of a cult acclaimed film because of that. And that's what makes this so interesting. But enough about the history. Let's get into like kind of the packaging and everything. So here's the top. Looks pretty cool. We got the front here, which is really cool. This awesome art that usually comes with the Universal Ultimate Edition figures. And we got the side here. It's got Professor Burke. Looks really cool. And on the other side, we got another shot of Professor Burke without the hat on. We got the back here. It's looking pretty cool. Got a lot of different stances and stuff. Got the full moon out. Tower of London in the back. Pretty cool shit. And then open up the figure, and this is what the inside of the figure looks like. Pretty awesome. Got a lot of cool accessories. We got the inside panel here showing Professor Burke in one of his probably most iconic looks from the stills, the surviving stills of that movie, and him with his protruding bat wings. So pretty awesome. Well, let's get them open. Let's see what we got going on here. So getting them out of the package, I gotta say, what a monster of a figure. This guy just looks so menacing and crazy. Freaky ass dude. From head to toe, this is a really stellar release. This is just looks great. Stand not included. Wanted to put him on a stand though to keep him up. And God, man, just look at that dude. Just gnarly, crazy looking. Just totally awesome. Like most NECA Ultimate releases, this dude's pretty chock full of accessories. I can't complain, honestly. Again, we don't really know a lot of what he did pose wise in the film, or if he used any weapons at all. I don't think he did. If you've seen the reconstruction of what is left of the script and uh, things left over from stills from the movie that the BBC put together many years back, you kind of have a little bit of an idea of what happened in the plot, obviously. Plot's not completely gone, but that's the great thing about this figure, is you kind of just use your imagination when it comes to the poses and whatnot, and whatever he comes with, you just do with what you got, because we can't watch the film. I mean, it'd be great if one day it was re-released. Well, if it was found and released, for eyes to see decades and decades later, that'd be really awesome. But for right now, this is what we know. And I'd say for what it is, it's pretty damn great. We got this lantern here, which he's seen in having in many of the promotional stills, holding outside of the house that Professor Burke was renting out. And then we've got this hand, this holding hand. It's the only hand really used for holding the lantern. And then we have this hand. It's more of like a pointing hand. Let's see that well. And another pointing hand, very menacing, pointing hand. And he comes with this cloak, this over-the-top cloak. You can take that off. It's hard plastic. It sits on top pretty well. Nothing too crazy there. It comes with this top hat, revealing his comb over. This thing's pretty cool again. Just kind of a softer plastic. And then he comes with these two head scans, which I'm going to just try to pull right out of the plastic here. So this one is more of a devilish, kind of moderate evil face scan compared to this more sinister, smiling evil face scan you can see there. This one's kind of the lesser of two evils, if you ask me. And then up here for this one, we have more of a I don't know. I don't know really what you would call this face scan if I can get him out. Come here. And we got him out. Okay, so this one's more of like a, you know, I don't know what you would call that, like satisfied, happy vampire grin, I guess. He's like, oh yes. Um, but yeah, enough of my impressions. And then we've got this. This is really awesome. I'm actually really happy they came with this. This is another overcoat, but it is cloth. So you can hang this just like this one over this guy, but you can actually get some posability out of the cloak with this one. And this is great too because there's people that like soft goods and there's people that hate soft goods and there's people that prefer molded fabric accessories with their figures. And this is awesome because if you want this, you got this, but if you want this, you have this. And I like this. I like both of these for this figure, which is really awesome. And then finally, what we got here is probably the holy grail of the accessories when it comes to this figure. All right, got it out, and here it is. These are the kind of pseudo bat wings that Professor Burke wears in London After Midnight. Because the whole thing with him is, he's a detective undercover as a vampire. And the scene in specific where he uses these, I'm pretty sure, is when he scares off one of the maids in the main cast's house. One of the main characters, one of the protagonists. He uses these wings in that iconic still where he has his hands up, like that, and kind of what we saw on the inner sleeve of the packaging. Scares her off, and yeah, he uses these, and this is pretty cool. It's kind of like more of like a flexible rubbery kind of thing. I didn't really know what this was going to be, kind of looking at the promotional stills, like what kind of material it's going to be, but this is really cool. I mean, you're definitely going to get some posability out of this, which is cool. One thing that kind of does worry me is these like little, I get it to focus, these little rubber straps are a little bit thin. So yeah, especially on the wrist, which kind of scares me to be too flexible with it. I don't want those to rip. I'd like to get some longevity out of this. You know, so that kind of worries me a little bit, but overall, I think it should be fine. And yeah, now I'm gonna try to get some poses out of this guy. As you can see here, some really awesome poses are to be had with this guy. Got great articulation in the elbow joints, got great articulation in the wrists, great articulation in the head swivel and the neck joint, great articulation in the knees. The ankles have rockers, which is great. I mean, that's kind of what is to be expected now, but with modern NECA figures. But this is just awesome in terms of articulation. It has pretty much everything you could really want for a figure like this. And yeah, I mean, I'm probably not gonna put him into too many poses because I want to do that myself, but off camera. But for people that don't know, this guy does come with some reuse. Most of his hands, I'm pretty sure all of his hands are reuse from the Phantom of the Opera Ultimate Eric figure, which I don't mind too much. They painted these a little bit differently and whatnot. I mean, I do like new tooling for new figures, and that's kind of what I expect with a $35, sometimes $40 price point for some of these NECA figures, but this was a must get for me. So, I don't really mind it that much that there's some reuse. Besides, everything else I'm pretty sure is completely new tooling. And overall, I'm pretty happy with this. If you're a fan of silent horror films or Lon Chaney Sr., or a fan of Lost films, Definitely looking into the history of this film, I recommend. And if you're into London After Midnight at all, give you know give this figure a second look. It's pretty awesome. And that's probably going to be it for this review. And yeah, I'll see you guys later till the next review.